Life never gave you lemons. You created it. But how? I learned something really interesting the other day. I learned that lemon is not actually a natural um, fruit that just came out of nowhere. It's apparently a fruit that we created. We combined bitter tasting orange and lime together, and then so many years later, thousands of years later, we got lemon. It evolved into lemon. And it makes me think, when people say when life gave you lemons, you make whatever. You make lemonade, you make lemon tart, you make lemon cake, whatever it is. Um, and the message behind that thing is, when you have an opportunity, you gotta take it. If you don't use it, you lose it. I agree with that. But I also want to make this point that the lemon was not really given to us. We created the lemon, meaning the opportunities we think we're being given are our creation. We have the ability to create all those opportunities. We think it's fate, but actually, it's our unconscious mind that creates all those things. It's us that created everything in our lives, including the destructive people in our lives, the destructive, toxic partners that we attract and maybe are still attracting in our lives nonstop. And we don't know why. I don't know why I'm meeting those people. It's you who are creating it. Just like how you created lemonade, you're also creating those people, manifesting those people. Again, there are no victims in this life. The only reason why we are allowing people to do this to ourselves is because we're allowing it. In some capacity, we're allowing it. And I'm gonna go again. We are creating it, because I'm gonna quote from Carl Jung here. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will dictate your life, and you will call it fate." Meaning, we got three minds. We got conscious mind, subconscious, and the unconscious. Conscious is what is speaking with you right now, and unconscious is basically the 85 or 95% of all the decisions you make that you are not conscious of doing. So every decision you made in your life since your birth or your childhood, you were not really aware of it. Maybe you're aware of doing those choices, but you were not aware of it. The reason why you're attracting those bad stuffs to your life is because the unconscious has some rules kind of programmed into you, and all you gotta do is to maybe do the work to turn the unconscious conscious. And to do that, you might want to go to a psychologist, you might want to go to other places, whatever you need. But also, energy practices help. And in this case, I have an energy practice on Patreon, Call of Power Qigong. You can check it out. It is an energy practice that I do and that I teach on Patreon that helps you raise those unconscious feelings into the surface. I guess another thing that I want to say is that, why? Why are we acting that way to ourselves? Why are we allowing people to, abuse us? Or why are we doing destructive things even though we know we can, but we don't? We can't control it. Well, and you might say, yeah, we're not really, we won't consciously do it. Who would want to consciously hurt themselves? Almost no one. We wouldn't want to be hurt. That's why it's unconscious. And it all starts with childhood in some dysfunctional homes and codependent homes. The message that the child gets at the end of the day is, oh, if I want to be loved, I have to compromise from my boundaries. And I have to be codependent to them. If I do that, then I will feel loved. Then I will feel loved. Oh, okay, then I'll do that. And then you do that for the rest of your life, and you lock yourself to that frequency. You lock yourself to that place, And what happens is you find people in your relationships that will exploit that. And here's the thing, people who have healthy boundaries and, you know, that are selfless givers because they're secure in themselves, they don't experience those things. They don't meet with those people because they're not having a mutual attraction. If you're having someone toxic in your life, it's because there's a mutual connection. That means that person feels something that they can exploit from you. But that also means you got to look at yourself as well. What are you trying to exploit from them also? You might not feel like you're exploiting something. You might tell yourself, oh, I just want to feel loved. But even though that's the gist of it, that's the main reason, that's the core of it, you might unconsciously be trying to exploit something from that person. You might have a hidden agenda. And if that person also has a hidden agenda, then there you go. The connection is good. There's a connection there. So one of the ways to solve that, one of the ways to solve all those victimizing problems is to first to accept that we have to take responsibility for our choices. Yes, maybe when we're as a child, maybe we didn't want it to take, maybe we didn't really choose to, maybe it wasn't in our willpower to actually choose those bad choices. We might tell ourselves, I didn't have a choice, I was a child. Yeah, but it was a choice. Even though you were a child, which of course no one can blame you for it, you were still a child. I'm telling this because it doesn't matter what kind of actions we take. The cosmos, the universe, takes us responsible for the choices we make on our paths. That's why there's a thing called karma, that you take responsibility over all the choices that you also made. Also, if there's some karmic connection with someone, if there's something karmic if there's something karmic, it means that your karma means debt that you're kind of paying to yourself. Essentially, it's not like you're paying to some god, the rent is due. No, you're paying it to yourself because it's a lesson to be learned. That's why it's a debt that you have to learn. It's all about, that's why we're here. We'll come here and we learn. That's why we do most of our stuff. So the universe takes us responsible for the choices we make. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. If you did something bad as a little kid, it doesn't really matter. You're a kid, again. And if you did a mistake, again, you did a mistake. And when people learn something, they do mistakes. Sometimes hurtful. Maybe you might be hurt. Maybe you were hurtful to other people. Doesn't matter. It's still a mistake. And it's not that you're a horrible person. It's just that it's a good thing. Now you have a thing to learn. That's the perspective you might want to shift towards. I can help. Because otherwise, you're going to tell yourself that you're a victim and you didn't have any choice. Well, that doesn't help, does it? If you want to get better, if we want to get better, we have to start taking responsibility over everything, every single action that we take, the thoughts that we think, and the things that we feel. Yes, of course. Here's the thing. Not saying overthink, not saying suppress your feelings. Here's the thing. You can't really suppress your thoughts. You can't really control your thoughts. You are having thousands of thoughts every single day. And emotions, you can't really suppress them. Here's the thing, even though you think you are, if there's someone that thinks, oh, I can control my feelings, I disagree. You can't. You did a really good job to suppress it, though. I'll give you that. You did a really good job to suppress it. But it doesn't mean you didn't feel it. If you feel it and you suppressed it and you think it's gone, no, it's just brewing deep down. It's not. It's gonna go away. It's gonna, and it's not just it's not just for people who have mental problems. No, it's for everyone. No one can actually, oh, okay, I can just control my feelings and control my feelings just like that. It's with everyone. If you're a human being, you can control your feelings and thoughts. Well, what do? You let yourself feel them for once. If you need to cry, you cry. If you need to feel angry, you feel angry. Doesn't mean you gotta attack someone, but or you gotta shout at someone. You just allow yourself to feel it. And if you can't really control thoughts either. That's also another thing. So, at the end, what it comes down to is you're actually very powerful, more powerful than you think. And if you want strength and freedom in our lives, we have to take responsibility over it. And it's not something harsh, it's not some big responsibility it's a big choice. No, it's being who you are. It's accepting yourself for who you are. And that will reveal a lot of mysteries about you that you didn't even know about yourself. So, again, that's what I'm going to say. Life never gave you lemons. You created it so you can make lemonade. See you guys in the next video.